How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw. On the other side,
I am Tim Wagner. What's going on, Josh?
hey, Tim. We are in May, which officially kicks off open water fishing season. In my opinion, the guy that doesn't know that much about fishing. Am I wrong?
Well, it's like we're coming up on fishing opener, so it's the majority of Minnesota is like this is when we're getting close.
This is
Everybody's
when
ready.
it happens.
Yep. There's a lot of
Right.
people that are like it's time to fish panfish as soon as the ice opens up, but
Right, right.
So
There's also people that stay out on the ice until it's fucking see-through, and
right.
that's crazy as shit. So
Yeah, people falling through the ice all the time when it's like they're just like, you gotta not drive trucks on there anymore. And there's always some redneck that's just like, I'll tell you when I fucking gonna get off the ice, boy. And then they gotta go pull him out of the water because he fell through the ice.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
So
happens every year.
and you always see it on the fucking evening news too. It always makes the news. It's
Yeah,
the middle of April, and they're like, "Well, on Lake Minnetonka, they had to pull out an F-350," and you're
they're
like,
always so nice about
"What
it
the
too.
fuck?"
Yeah, they're always so nice about it too. They're just like, somebody fell through, so make sure that you're being safe out there because there are thin spots. They should just be like another person fell through the ice, obviously.
It's been 63 for the past 4 days straight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a typical Real AF TV podcast, fishing in the front, random take in the back. So for part one, we're doing a fishing Q&A. The internet has a lot of questions, and the more time you spend on the fishing internet, you go, shit, we should talk about that. There's a lot of questions out there that like make you could just talk about it. It's good, and it's just like nobody's really answering them that well on forums or like Twitter. Too much troll. Like it gets weird sometimes. And I'm not saying fishing internet's bad, but sometimes it's the internet,
I see, because I see some questions, like I see people answering them well sometimes, but you also have a lot of like super biased opinions out there that are just ridiculous. Like people asking just like, what do you think I should get for a rod and reel? And then somebody will hop on and be like, nothing Abu Garcia, don't touch the shit. You're just like, I have plenty of Abu Garcia stuff. Just because you didn't use your reel right once and thought that it was garbage because you messed it up, like, and it's just so dumb. People just want opinions, and obviously that guy gave you an opinion on one that sucked or whatever, but somebody just wants to be like, what do I need to get started? And somebody's just like, fuck this company. And he's just like, that's not what I asked.
That's right. Exactly. Plus, so we're going to try to answer questions in not that fashion.
Right. And plus, like, we just kind of figured if people are asking these questions, they can't be the only ones. It's the same thing with everything I do. Like, I'm just like, there's no way I'm the only one that thinks this stuff. There's no way we're the only people doing these things. It's like, well, there's got to be other people that are sitting at home going like, yeah. And plus, if you found this podcast, maybe you got some questions. So, here we are.
That's what Real AF TV was founded on, is learning fishing.
I like to help.
Not making it suck.
Yeah, we don't want to make it suck unless you want it to suck. That was weird.
We just don't want it to be boring, and that's why we're here. We're trying to mix a little humor in there. It makes you learn better. And then in the second half, we are going to keep it video games all month long on May, but we're going to keep it video games the month of May, but that's for housekeeping, which we'll get to here in just a second. And our second half is going to be video games. We're going to do Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your best Resident Evil, Tim. Come on.
What are you buying? Yeah.
I didn't even play that one, but I know what you
Resident
just did.
Resident Evil 4 is my favorite one. That guy that you just the one in the he's like a market dude. Gosh dang it, like a vendor.
He is the market.
There's a different word that is just, what are you selling? He goes higher at the end. Sorry, I'll try it again. What are you selling? Nah, that was too high. Fuck it. It's close enough.
It's good. It's really good. But we're going to talk about Resident Evil. Well, of course, we got to talk about the game. Resident Evil 8
Yes.
just came out. Like,
Yep.
it literally comes out the Friday before the Monday that this podcast launches. So it's on the market, is what I'm saying. And but we're not gonna dwell on. Let's get into some housekeeping. I'm just gonna cut off there and go. We're on Patreon, dude.
Yes.
We are officially on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it is like subscription, basically. So you can subscribe to Real AF TV, give us a little bit of money a month. There are tiers that we have set up, and you get benefits based on those tiers, based on the amount of money that you give us. And here's the thing, you control it, right? You give us $50 this month and then walk away from it next month. Doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to do. You're in control.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/RealAFTV. That's right.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, don't just be like, I have to give you $50. No, you don't have to do nothing. This podcast is free. You can keep listening to it for free too. But with your support, we can get things done, and that would be much appreciated. I maybe don't have to sit in the corner of my basement. maybe we can make podcasting together happen more often. There's things that we can do with your help, and it would be much appreciated. And if you don't want to do it, then I know where some of you live. That's all I'm gonna say.
But yes, thank you for mentioning the fact that the podcast is going to remain free. I mean, we're still on all of the platforms. We're still going to be launching it on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes and all of that stuff. Podcast isn't going anywhere for free. We're sticking there. Don't worry about that.
Yes.
Podcast ain't going anywhere. We are asking for your support on patreon.com/RealAFTV, ReelAFTV. So we can do more with our ideas, because right now we have ideas. I mean, we have a whole Slack channel of ideas and it's just overflowing.
Yeah.
We just don't have the time, and time is money. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, time is money. That's an honest statement.
Right. And funds that you guys help us out with are funds our wives can't try to tell us what to do with. So that helps too. It makes it easier to spend money on stuff for the podcast and the YouTube channel and all the other social media outlets and whatnot. And maybe I'll get a fancier cup.
Other than Spider-Man 2 Homecoming cup.
No, that's not what we would be spending the money on. But I just realized this is only the second time we've done this on the video, and I didn't realize until like just now that it like completely covers up my face every time I take a sip. And it looks like such garbage, but I'm thirsty and I need to have water to be able to talk well. So I apologize. Hydrated. Next time I'll work on a better cup, but I'm not going to walk away and try to find one now. So it is what it is for this time.
Oh, that is great. Actually, you can go to patreon.com/RealAFTV right now, sign up, and at any tier, doesn't matter, and you will get the pilot podcast that will not be released anywhere else. It's a Patreon exclusive. It was the first time we recorded this on video. We did the podcast on video. So there it is. Eventually down the road, we are, just so you know, we are going to go with video podcasts on the YouTube channel. It is going to happen, and we'll continue to release the audio on all the other outlets. But, a little incentive to like go drop us $1 on Patreon and see that pilot video. So
yeah.
I don't know why I kind of chuckled at it. It's not like it turned out bad. I mean, we did pretty good, but we're learning the equipment and stuff, so we're not ready to go public with it.
Obviously. We're learning things.
Exactly.
I mean, I got a handsome glass of booze over here, but that's not gonna help.
That just looks good.
That's not gonna help the hydration. So
so you gotta have the water. Also, we put up a $250 a month goal. If you guys get us up to $250 a month, we will do a half Christmas special. Tim, what's half Christmas? Let the people know.
Christmas is in between Christmas Well,
in the
Christmas
beginning of
is,
the
I
year,
suppose, because you have Christmas and then the next Christmas. It's in between
in between
Christmases.
Christmases.
Because you got the Christmas from last year and the Christmas from your coming year.
Right.
And then right in
Boom.
between
Half
is,
Christmas.
what is it, June 25th is Christmas, half Christmas. Is that
Yeah,
what it
it's like
is?
June 25th or 26th. I don't really get how that works because I don't understand dates and also don't
Yeah.
understand how leap years work. Although this isn't a leap year. It's not the point. The point is we'll do a half Christmas special if you can get us
Half
up to 250 a month.
Christmas.
If we fall short of that come June, then we'll change the goal. But that's just something, guys, help us out and share the Patreon. Get us up there because our Christmas special, if you ask me, is on YouTube and it was a banger. I loved it. A lot of production. It was fun.
It was fun. Yep.
So let's get into it. Let's podcast. Let's podcast about fishing. Let's do what we
Yeah.
all came here for. Okay. We came here to podcast. We didn't come here just for the fishing, but fishing Q&A. Let's hit it with this one right away because we're in that period of time where it's not bass fishing time. It's not sport fishing time, I guess. I'll pull that word out from learning that from podcasts prior. But when the water's open, and the docks are all in now and you kind of and the bass masters, going hard, it's just like I could feel like I'm getting the itch to go bass fish even. And yeah, yeah, you feel it. We got but that could be a problem here in Minnesota. Season's not open, blah, blah, blah. A friend informed me, this is the question. A friend informed me it is illegal to use a crankbait out of season. Now, that is something that relates directly to, hey, bass ain't in season. Can you throw a crank?
Right. The answer is yes. I also wanted to say real quick that just these questions are real questions from people, but we're not going to divulge anybody's names or anything because we don't know if they want us to. So we're just going to ask their question. So if you listen to the podcast and you hear your question, you're just like, why didn't they give us credit? Because I don't know who you fucking are.
Because these are just gathered from across fishing internet and
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Anonymous.
But if you do listen and you hear your question, you're just like, hey, that was awesome. Let us know. We'll give you a shout out.
Hell yeah.
You gave us some content. I'll definitely be like, yeah, that, these people said it. But anyways, yes. Is it illegal? No, it is not illegal. It is illegal to target fish out of season. So if you went with the intention of trying to catch a bass or a walleye or whatever it happens to be, that is illegal. So part of it is kind of convincing the DNR officer, which is what we have in Minnesota. We learned in one of the other podcasts that they're not DNR in every state. So whatever your
conservation officer.
Yes, conservation confrontation
officer.
Confrontation cop. I don't know. Whatever your conservation officer is called, like, you got to know what you're trying to do, because it shouldn't be like you're trying to pull a fast one. The seasons are there for a reason, so don't learn the rules to try to pull a fast one on one and just be like, I told him I was totally going for white bass when I was going for walleye. Yeah. Just like, I mean, that would work, but don't do that,
Right.
So, but like, I used white bass as an example there because, like, white bass and crappie, there are smaller crankbaits, like rattle trap is famous. God, I can't remember his name. Is it Bill Lewis? It's like the original rattle trap. You can find them everywhere. They're just a lipless crankbait that vibrates real fast, and they make a mini version of that for like crappies. And white bass are they're panfish, and they're in that same kind of category. They got big mouths, so those fish will try to hit something a little bit bigger than a sunfish. And they make crappie-sized crankbaits. There's a bunch of different stuff, or a bunch of different manufacturers that make crankbaits out there for crappies and stuff. So you can use crankbaits. but then it just comes into like a size thing, you know, like if you're using, I think I said it on one of the other episodes, you know, if you're using like a walleye tail dancer where the bait is that long and then you got a bill that long and you're getting it to dive, I mean, you wouldn't be fishing something that's diving that deep this time of year
Yeah.
anyways.
For the audio listeners, how long are you talking there?
Oh yes. I'm talking. We're learning.
We're learning.
Like a 5 inch long bait would be something that you're definitely
Mhm.
not gonna convince anybody that you're throwing for crappie. You know,
Right.
you're just like, yeah, but I always throw baits half the fish's size every time. When I go fishing for muskie, 2-footer every
Two
time, and that
200.
and that's only because that's the biggest one I can handle throwing. I'd be throwing a 3-footer if I could figure out a way to launch that thing, but I get so damn tired. But no, it's totally legal to throw crankbaits, but it's that whole targeting thing. Just make sure that you know what you're going for and know the
Mhm.
seasons that you're going for, because there are some weird uh rules like bass you can fish for on fishing opener, but you can't keep them for another 2 weeks. So there are rules where you're allowed to target them, but you can't actually
Mhm.
keep them. So just
Sure.
know that stuff. Just, you know, when in doubt, look in the DNR stuff. And you can get PDF files of the whole guide on your phone. Like download it
Right.
instantly. Bam, you have it.
Yep.
So
Good point. Good point. I really liked that you said you can catch fish. So like you can go bass fishing during walleye opener.
mhm.
You just can't keep the bass. And so
Right.
when you're downloading your regs when you're downloading your local regs, because that's in Minnesota, you know, I don't know how widespread that is across the United States, but like those are the sort of things that you really gotta train yourself on, you know, or you gotta like that's why this is what I want to say is that's why we always talk about, hey, ask somebody, listen to the Real AF TV podcast, like
Yeah.
get a person who knows what they're doing to get you started. It's just going to make things easier and faster, because even that little tip right there, what you said, Tim, is enough to make someone like me who's still learning go, all right, when I get the regs, I need to read about bass. Like do a control F, look up the word bass, and every time it hits, read everything there is to read.
Yep.
Like we did that in our last part, in the last episode, on episode 20, when we did the whole front half about crappies. We went through several things like that, and how it's different on the borders and of our state and stuff like that. It's just don't read up, right?
Yeah.
Fish
Yeah.
educated, I guess is what I'm
Yep.
trying to say, is like don't go out there just willy-nilly. Anyways, we got a load of questions, and let's talk about a boat. Let's talk about boats right quick. We're not going to do a ton of it, but like I just saw this question and I
Let's
thought,
talk about it.
let's let's talk how do I not even do my Minnesota accent? What the fuck? I just blew it.
You turn like English. Let's talk about it.
Talk about it. Anyways, let's talk about boats quick. The Can I use lower unit oil in my outboard?
Yeah, that one.
I was just like, wait,
Yeah.
in an outboard. That's the kind. I think I can describe the engine type
Yes.
correctly. An outboard motor is the kind that hangs off the back of your boat. It's
Right.
basically completely exposed. The engine is completely exposed.
Yes.
It just hangs off the back of the boat. Then you would have an inboard, which you see on most sporting boats. Recreational boats is what I would call them, I guess. Like speedboats is the old
Yeah.
term that you learn as a kid, where no engine visible whatsoever. It's usually just a giant compartment in the back that you sit on and drink beer while your buddy's wakeboarding out the back.
Yeah. Most people, there's like runabouts and there's wakeboard boats and stuff like that. Yeah. So you're definitely nailing it. And
Yeah.
some of them have jet engines, like a jet ski too. So
Like a jet ski with a bigger engine.
yeah. Right. So
Same propulsion method,
yeah, same shit. Yep.
right? So yeah. So what does this even mean to use lower unit oil in an outboard motor?
Okay. So a lower unit, basically think of it like this: an outboard motor is the transmission and the motor in one piece, because
Ah,
you have the motor up here, like on the top, and then that shaft that goes down to the prop is basically the transmission. So that's where all the gearages and all that stuff.
sure.
And the lower unit is where all the gears are. And the lower unit, it's completely different oil.
Ah,
That's like gear lubrication on the bottom, and
yeah. I
then
was
on
gonna
the
say it's the
top,
same concept in a car when you think about it, right? Like
yeah,
there's engine oil, and then your
there's
transmission has
yeah,
transmission fluid.
right. It'd be the
Okay.
same. Yeah, it's like the same idea. So it's like,
Okay.
no, you can't put transmission fluid in your engine. So so
Right.
like I'm not trying to be like no, but like when I saw it, I'm like, oh shit, people don't know this. Like
Right.
you need to know that, because you, I guess, I don't know how bad it'll screw up your engine, but it's not made for it. And just
Right.
find the specifications. Like she had an older motor, the lady that
Mm,
was asking,
yep.
and like just check it out, figure out what it is. Like you can find that stuff. I don't I would assume that you can find it just like you can find it with oil for any other stuff, like where
Mhm.
the oil filters and stuff
Mhm.
go into, Fleet Farm, and they have that book. I don't know if they have a book like that for
Right.
boats, but online you can definitely find something, and they have their own specifications. Like I
Yep.
think Evan Rude takes, like, Quicksilver is the brand or whatever, and it's like
Sure.
there's like specific oils made for your engine, but for
Mhm.
sure lower oil unit is not. That's like gear lube. It's completely different. So
Yeah. Yeah. For
yeah,
sure. Yep. Yeah, that makes I mean, hopefully people get the references to cars, but I mean, I think most people have a vehicle or have ridden in a vehicle. There's it's a lot easier, I think, to relate to, and maybe not in a fishing podcast audience,
yeah. Well,
but
I would think that if you have a boat, you have a vehicle.
right.
Like that'd be pretty weird to have a boat with no cars.
Yeah, but also to the people that don't really have the boats, like hopefully come in here
Right,
and
right.
learning something. But the car, like the car reference, I just think is more. There's more boats. No, there's more cars on the road than there are boats in the water. So
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
when you're talking about this kind of boat, so yeah, that makes a really you make a really good point there. Now this next question, we did a whole podcast on the history of the fishing rod.
Hmm.
We went into some good detail, and we've talked a lot. In only 21 episodes, we've talked a lot about slip bobbers. I feel maybe it's only a couple times, but I feel like we've had a lot of good conversations about it. So when I
Yeah.
saw this one, I was like, huh, yeah. So I'll read the question, and then we'll get into it. I was curious about purchasing a new rod. Can you use a micro guide rod effectively for slip bobber fishing?
So the answer is probably. You probably could if
Mm-hmm.
you really needed to, but I wouldn't. I
Mm-hmm.
have used it, like I have been out fishing where all of a sudden, like, given what was going on and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there was fish there and couldn't get in a bite, I was like, maybe a slip bobber would work. So I have tried it with a
Mm-hmm.
micro guide. And one thing I didn't think about until I actually used it is the micro guides are so small, because basically a micro guide is just, or like other people refer to them as eyes, the eyelets or whatever.
Yep.
They're
And
where
that's
the
actually what made me think about our
yeah
podcast about the fishing rod. Is like we'd
yeah
go into the parts in that episode. So if you're looking for it,
yep yep, check it out. We explain it well there. But
yep.
the line, that's where the line goes through, and the micro guides are just like what it sounds. They're tiny.
Yeah.
So a bobber stop when you're slip bobber fishing is basically just a knot that stops the line from going through your bobber. And when you're reeling it up, it'll get snagged on those, especially when you're fighting a fish. Like the pressure
Oh
of
yeah.
the fish pulling it, when the line hits the
Yeah.
bobber stop hits those micro guides, it'll move the bobber stop. So a lot
Yeah.
of times fighting the fish isn't a big deal, but every time you get the fish in, now you're resetting your line and trying to get the depth right and everything. And
Right.
you just caught a fish. You were in the right spot. Now you got to try to get it to right where you had it again. And
Right. Right.
that makes it tough. And trust me, like, you don't have to have a micro guide for bobber fishing. So I guess if you're hard up and it's the only rod you have and you want to use it for other stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then like sometimes bobber fish, I think you can get away with it. But I think I would rather just go with a better rod that doesn't have micro guides, because the blank does a lot of it for you as far as sensitivity goes. So you can get a good rod that you can fish other stuff with besides bobbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then without the micro guides, it gives you that option to use bobber fishing. But if you were just looking to use it as like a bobber fishing rod, that's pointless. The micro guides the micro guides give you more sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need extra sensitivity to watch a bobber go under the water. It's just pointless. So
Right. Yeah. The bobber's going to go under. It's already as sensitive as its buoyancy. Like,
yep.
that's all there is to it. So in
Yeah.
this case, it's like, I'm curious of buying a new rod. Would my just it sounds to me like the question is being asked, what kind of rod do I get to go slip bobber fishing? I've heard about these micro guides, and I guess slip bobbers I'm probably going to be pan fishing, so sensitivity is probably a thing. It's just like that is not the
Right.
case. They're not related in this
Nope.
question.
Not at all. When you're bobber fishing, like if you want to like upgrade your bobber fishing capabilities, I don't know, like get brighter colored bobbers so you can see them better, so you know when they go under.
Get them glow in the dark ones that have that work at night and
Yep,
go out at night.
I got them, man. I got a couple. Thill makes glow in the dark ones, and then there's Thill and a couple of different companies that actually make like little lights that go in your bobber, so they're like legitimately illuminated, not just glow in the dark.
Oh, nice.
But
Like an LED. I would assume an LED at this point. I don't know.
oh yeah,
But
yeah, they've
yeah.
been an LED diode for a long time because they were so tiny.
Right. Yeah.
They just used to
Yep.
cost a lot more money. So
Right. Yeah. LEDs have come down significantly in price in the last 10
oh,
years.
crazy.
All right. Next one. Let's see. Looking for a good rod and reel for casting lures and live bait. I love your note on this. I'm gonna break through the production, and I'm just gonna say I love your note. It's like that's not a question,
Right,
but
right.
I still have an answer for it.
Yeah, that's what I put in there, because it's like it's not a question, but I'll answer it for you.
I'm looking for a good rod and reel.
Aren't we all?
I think that's half of fishing.
Right, right. So, but no, looking for a good one to spinning reel and rod is what you should be looking at. Don't
For
mess
both,
with
for the combo of throwing lures and throwing live bait.
yes, live.
Yeah.
I think the live bait would be harder to throw, but also with a question like that, I'm just gonna assume you're a beginner. Like, no offense,
Sure.
but like it's just so vague that you're just like, yeah, you should probably go with spinning because that's gonna help you out.
Just because the spinning, when we've talked a little bit about it, but the spinning is just easier to get a hold of. Get your mind. It's easier to use. It's an easier tool to use, I guess,
Right, right,
than
right. Yeah,
other. Okay.
yeah,
Than other reels is what I'm trying to say. It's the. I don't want to call it a beginner reel, right?
right. No, it's not a beginner reel because it does take some skill. Like you have to open the bail and like hold the line with your finger and stuff. Like you have to learn what you're doing, but
Sure.
it's a lot easier because the bait caster is so much more to it, where
Mm-hmm.
if you don't stop the line from coming out, then you just fucked up your whole day. So
Actually saw a guy who I just saw a video on social media. He threw it and it backlashed so bad that the whole rod just flew out of his hands into the water.
Really? I've
Yeah,
seen
like
so
it
that
just snagged, it just ratted up and it had so much momentum. It whoop.
yeah, that was probably like some he must have had like some stronger braid or whatever. I've had that happen before with uh bigger musky lures and I
Hmm.
spazzed out so hard on one of them. I had a Live Target is a company that makes really realistic looking baits and I had a big Live Target perch and I was casting and I had an older Abu Garcia reel and like I tell you that because they have these old they're like shaped almost like a pop can
Okay.
and that was my first musky reel and it's not even really quite a musky reel
Okay.
but like that's what I was using it for
Hmm.
and I casted and I backlashed and it caught and the line snapped like if the line wouldn't have snapped it
Oh,
probably would have been able to pull but because of
sure.
the force plus also hold on to your rod tight you never know what's going to happen like you can't just cast and like hope that nothing pulls on it but
Yeah.
that thing snapped and that lure was like $30 so it like is like zzz, and it snaps and it's just like
Fuck.
$30
$30 just
to
flying through
just
the
go
air.
and I was like slapping the rod on the water and stuff and then there was another boat next to me and I didn't even like notice him. I might have saw him but and I'm just like god damn it I'm like hitting the water with the rod because I'm like not only did I lose this lure but I have to like retie everything. I had a leader on because I'm fishing for muskies so I got to go find a new leader and like all this shit. And like in that moment, I'm just like, I have work to do now. I just want to fish. And like I look up and the guys are like staring at me and I'm just like, lost a musky lure. And they're both just like, yeah, we get it. And then they just keep going.
Like, I
Yeah.
got it.
But to
So,
answer the question,
yeah, back to the question.
yes. So what I'm guessing is that you're kind of just looking for like a good all around rod and reel setup. And I personally don't think that there is one rod and reel that'll do every job that you want.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to go a lot, then get one that's a good middle ground. What I'm suggesting is like a Fluger President combo is a great place to start. Um, That's a two-piece rod for most of them, I
Hmm.
believe. So that's
Hmm.
kind of up to you. You know, like if you want a one piece, 10 more bucks will get you like a one piece with something that's super high
Hmm.
quality too. Like I know it's kind of a horse a piece.
Okay.
uh, like there's a Fenwick um, Night Hawk, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
It's a nice rod, and then it has a Fluger reel on it that's not quite the Fluger President. And I think that's
Oh,
like $100, and that's a one piece rod. And then there's
and you just buy
also
this combo just like already put together,
yep,
sitting on the
already put
shelf.
together. Yep.
Nice.
That's why I'm throwing this out there because I think it just makes it easier for you when you're a beginner to like not try to be. I see so much of that stuff too. People are like, "What do you think I should get?" And somebody's like, "I would get this $150 rod with this $150 reel," and you're just like, yeah, okay. I don't think that they're at that level yet. So how about you chill
Right.
on go spend $300? So, but
Right.
like there's that Nighthawk one, and I might be getting it wrong, but it's something real close to that. I believe it's Nighthawk, and then there's the Fluger President. The President reel is phenomenal. That reel is sells for like $60 by itself. You can get the combo for
Damn.
$85.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like you and that differs too a little bit depending on what rod and reel setup you go with. Like the
Sure. Of course.
smaller microlight is cheaper, obviously. Smaller stuff just costs less to produce. So
Right.
less materials, less money,
Yep.
for the most part. But
Yep.
and that like I would say like a 7 foot medium and then a fast action if they have that. If not, like a medium light somewhere in there. On the reel or on the rod, it will tell you like what weights it's suggested to be able to throw, like by the ounce. So
Hmm.
keep that in mind too when you're talking about like what, to throw lures and live
Yeah.
bait. Like, I don't know what you're throwing, so just like look at the on the box of your lures. It'll
Yep.
tell you the weight. It'll tell you how
Yep.
many ounces that lure is.
Very
So
good. Yeah.
just make sure that you have a rod that can handle what you're throwing. But
Right.
also, that's where I say to start. So get yourself like a 7 foot medium, and then try to keep in mind of when you're fishing. If you find stuff that, like, for this lure, it'd be really nice if this thing would be
Mm.
different.
Mm.
You
Okay.
can make that happen. That's why there's so many lures and so many, or that's why there's so many rods and reels, because
Right.
there
Right.
is
Right.
stuff to hone in on every single thing where you're just like, and I think that's where you get people that are just like, fuck Abu Garcia. It's because you didn't have the right rod and reel for what you were trying to do, and it didn't go to
Right.
your liking.
Yeah. Right.
So
For sure.
just
For
you
sure.
just gotta tweak it, you know. Go to Fleet
Yeah. Yeah.
Farm and
Definitely.
walk through, and you'll see just tents of rods and reels for
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
and
Basically,
it's
your local shop, whether it be a local, a big sports store, or whether it just be your local tackle shop, is like you should pretty much see tents
yeah,
of rods. And even though they all, to the layman walking by, look the same, you when you go in there, it's just a whole row of this white, nighthawk. I'll just use whatever, you know.
yeah,
But as you walk down, it's like, oh, that one's 6'5", and that one's 6'7", and that one's 7'2", and then they have their
mm-hmm,
different actions that you've talked about before, and
yep,
yeah, it gets crazy. And actually, to bring it back to another podcast, this episode 10, we talked about a beginner tackle box and the cost of a hobby in the same episode, which of course has
mm-hmm,
tons of overlap, at fishing being one of your biggest hobbies. And it really goes to what you're saying is, don't overdo it. Don't listen to, like we said at the beginning, it can get really blurry on the internet. There can be the like trollier, like cocky types. Go get this $150 reel and this $300,
right,
rod reel setup. You're going to be the best ever. It's just like, no, 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 no. The cost of a hobby is something you really need to take into consideration. It's just not. It's just not necessary. Don't be that guy. Don't be the
right,
first time throwing nothing. First time throwing artificial bait. Here we go.
right.
$300 goes in the fucking lake.
Yeah, yeah, because it rats nests and just grabs it and pulls it out of your hand because you weren't holding on to it. It just like I also think of like the same thing with the person asking about the micro guide. Like they're just like, I
Yep.
want something for like this person was asking for a rod that can also throw live bait, assuming maybe you're throwing like a bobber, and people might be just like,
Right.
go and get this rod because it's dope, and
Yeah.
you never took into consideration that that has micro guides, and she might be fishing a slip bobber, and that just doesn't
Right.
work very well. She wants an all
Right.
around. Give her a good all around. That's
Right.
that's what we're here for. Try to be helpful. There's always these people that they're just like on that bandwagon. It's like
Right.
the same. It's like the kids in high school when you show up in your Mazda, and everybody's like, fucking Mazda, bro. Fords. I only drive Fords. Just like, what is your deal? Like, you got to be mad at me because I don't drive the
Because I
same make that you like?
right. Yep. And you're just like why? What? What is that? Why?
Right,
Go find the right thing that fits you,
right.
and
Just,
do that. Like, what do you need? Go get it. You know what I mean? It's
yep,
just like, don't overthink it too much. Just get what actually works.
yep.
I'm gonna let's switch it up a little bit because this is completely related to the upcoming weekend here in Minnesota. We are launching the podcast on the Monday before what
Yep.
we here in Minnesota call fishing opener.
Yes.
And what is that? Just do a quick brief. What does that actually mean to us here in Minnesota, Tim?
Fishing opener means that you can now legally target bass, walleye, and northern pike, and you get to keep walleye and northern pike, and walleye being our state fish because it's fucking delicious. That's what everybody like. There's some people that just love fishing for the big fish, so you get to go and catch the northerns, and um, walleyes are fun to fish for and eat, and that's a lot of what some people, that's all they fish for is the walleyes. So
Yep. Yeah.
now
Yep.
we get to fish for them. We haven't, like we talked about with the lures and the crankbaits, we can't legally target them. If you
Right.
catch them on accident, that's a different story, but you can't legally target them
Yep.
until May 15th this year. The opener changes from year to year, but
Right. So
mostly
yeah,
it's
like I
almost
said,
always on Mother's Day. So,
it's almost always on Mother's Day. Yes, that is the old
or Mother's
Minnesota
Day
thing.
weekend. Mother's Day is
Right.
Sunday, opener's Saturday. So,
Yes. Yep. That's the old Minnesota like fisher thing.
yep.
Anyways,
And moms fish free.
Oh shit! Do they
Yeah.
really?
I think it's all ladies. Yeah, it might just be. I don't know if it's moms. I can't remember, but for sure, moms.
That's a weird thing to prove, though. Is like you have to be out there
Yeah.
like with your baby. I'm a
Right.
mom, I swear.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, on Mother's Day, you can take your mom fishing without a fishing license.
Oh, kick ass!
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Hot tip.
Hot tip.
So that. It was the walleye that was leading into the next question, and of course we have two major cities that the river basically splits in half here. And that's why they're called the Twin Cities, because they just built up on either side of the river. So someone asked the question, would you eat walleye off the Mississippi near downtown Minneapolis? And so basically, again, rivers through two big cities. River through two big cities. And now remember, we're near the beginning. So this is the top of the river. It's going through two major cities. Would you eat it, Tim?
Nope. No. No, don't.
Before I even finished the question, you were just shaking your head.
I was shaking my head no the whole time.
No. I know the whole time I'm starting the question and you're just shaking your head.
Don't do it.
For the folks that are going to catch this on video.
Not unless you're
only on audio.
Right. Not unless you're super hard up and you're starving or whatever, then go ahead, take your chances. But because we talk about video games, it's like Fallout. Like you eat one of those fish, you're going to get some of that radiation poisoning. Like your health bar is going down, but don't eat the real big problem is the mercury content. And I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you why, but the closer you are to the big cities like that, the higher the mercury content is. You got to get yourself like some good fresh water. Those fish you can find it in the regulations. It literally says like, do not eat more than like 3 fish in a month.
Yep.
It's like you're gonna get mercury poisoning.
They're basically saying you're ingesting a little bit more mercury than we would advise you to do. But no, you're 100% right. I've actually done a little bit of, because I love eating fish, so I've done a little bit of research on this mercury thing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, since we made a reference to Sea Lab 2021 before on this show as well, there's even a episode on that where they reference it, and there's like this giant whale. One of the guys like got electrocuted or whatever, so it's like a weird dream sequence, and there's like this giant whale talking to another fish, and he's just like, did you know that the average fish has more mercury in it than an anal thermometer? And then the other fish is like, what? And he goes, would you eat an anal thermometer? And the other fish goes, no. And then he goes, I would, and eats the little fish.
Oh my god, that show was amazing.
Oh, good stuff.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, dude, you're right. It's near the cities, as near a bigger city. There's just more chemical runoff and all that shit like that, and so you do um, end up with basically contaminated waters. I'm not
Yeah.
saying there's anything wrong with fishing them. I'm not saying that like
No,
if
no.
you need it, go ahead and eat it. But I wouldn't
Yeah,
go there to go food fishing. No
right.
fucking way,
Yeah.
dude.
And
No.
like it says, you can get away with eating them, but they're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, don't eat too much of that. Just,
Yeah.
just giving
Yeah.
you a
For
warning.
sure.
And just like, I'm just like, we have access to so many different bodies of water here. I'm not
Yep.
going to the ones that are just like, you probably shouldn't eat many of these fish. And it's like, that to me is just like, then I should not eat any of those fish. So.
Right. Yes, exactly. And the thing is too is it works its way up the food chain. The mercury works its way up the food chain because the plankton will eat the mercury filled grass, and then
Hmm.
and then the sunfish eat the plankton, and then the walleye eat the sunfish. So
And then
that's
the big
how it
whale
works.
eats the anal thermometer.
And then exactly. Exactly. So do you want to give a little bit of a lure advice too to this next question for the walleye, or should we just move on and save that for a different time? Let me
What
know. Be honest.
what question are we
This is,
talking about now?
what is your favorite go-to lure for spring
Oh,
walleye?
yeah,
Is the question.
my favorite go-to lure, and it like I know like people might be biased and just be like, yeah, that's not really a lure. Hey, this is my favorite way. So I like, and I'll give you a specific jig head. Hopefully that gets everybody. I love fishing a jig and a minnow. I can feel when the minnow is moving, and I can feel like it there's something to it where I know that like the minnow's down there doing its thing, and it gives me more
Mm,
confidence
hmm.
because I know that my bait's wiggling even when it's sitting still. So I'm just like, oh yeah, dude, I would eat it. They're gonna eat it. But I like a chartreuse color, which is like a bright green, um,
Green, yellow. Yep.
knuckleball jig head, and
Say that again.
knuckle
I heard what you said, but it's like, what was it?
knuckleball.
Okay, I didn't hear you
It
right the first time then.
oh
Knuckleball. Okay.
knuckleball. Yeah, knuckleball jig head, and it is made by FinTech, I believe is the company. And it's knuckleball Gin Tech, I almost said. We're getting into some weird like sounds like some sort of a martial arts.
Yeah.
The knuckleball Gin Tech technique. the but the yeah, FinTech I believe is what it's called, and it's a knuckleball jig, and eighth ounce
Oh,
knuckleball jig,
sure.
and then possibly 16th ounce
Okay.
in the early spring. Like if a cold front moves in and I want to fish real slow, I'll go 16th ounce.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my favorite. I just
All
love it.
right.
There's a lot more that you could use, but I'm just telling you my favorite. That's what I like.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So we got a time restraint because we have, we're the hour long podcast that goes an hour and 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
we got a list of questions here, Tim. Which one do you want to pick out before we wrap up our fishing topic before we get into Resident Evil? Because I got one, but that's because I'm biased towards catfish. Fucking love me some
Oh,
catfish.
yeah, I will. We can answer that question, and I'll say one other one. Real okay. So
You gonna do a lightning round of two
I'll
questions?
I'll give you two questions that are just real fast, and then you can ask that catfish one. So one of them said, just because these are fucking weird, does anyone leave hooks on their lures?
Oh yeah.
Not on their lures. I'm saying this wrong. Does anyone leave hooks or lures tied on to their bait casters, or do you cut them off and reel them up every time?
Yeah.
Who told you this? Like, I don't.
Sounds like a lot of fucking work if you ask me.
I've never heard of this before. You should not cut off your stuff. That's crazy. If somebody out there has a good reason to cut them off and reel them up, let me know. But no way, dude. Never.
Sure.
That's
Mhm.
it's even how you hook up your stuff to make sure your line doesn't get all tangled and weird. Like
Oh, yeah.
maybe if you don't,
Good point.
you don't want to bend the rod up when it normally bends the other way, but you don't have to tighten it that much. Just
Well, that's
hook
what I
up
was gonna
your
say.
yeah, just hook up your line and then just tighten it so there's no slack in your line, and and hook up your lure to whatever, and then that's it. You don't have to fuck with it. I think it's crazy. I've never heard of anything like that. So that one I say
Yeah, it's weird.
no, don't cut it off. I don't know who told you that. They're bad friends. And the other one, where did I put my? I had other notes.
Okay, so
All right.
what was the one you were looking for again?
So the smelt one.
Ah, yes. Are the smelt running in Duluth yet? So I don't even know what that means.
And I
I know
don't
smelt's a
know.
fish, but I don't know what
Yeah,
the fuck they're talking about.
yeah. So I'm sure that they like spawn or whatever. I don't know anything about smelt, but I wrote this down not only because of the question, but because of the answer somebody gave. It was one of my favorite things I've ever seen. It's such a weird Minnesotan answer. The guy says, "Are the smelt running in Duluth yet?" And the answer he gets is, "When the oak leaves are the size of squirrels' ears, is when the smelt are running."
What the fuck does that mean?
Just,
I don't even know what that means.
but if he's right, and that's something you're wondering about, just remember that when the oak leaves are the size of squirrels' ears, that's when the smelt are running. Now you know, bringing that knowledge. I don't even know what that means, but you have it. I have it.
Cool.
Now we know it's going to be a fun thing. Like if anybody ever asks you that in the future, somebody just says, I just like, I would love to do it like just in passing. You just walking past somebody talking to their friend, and they're just like, "Are the smelt running yet?" And you're just like, "Yeah, when the oak leaves are the size of squirrels' ears, that's when they're running." You just keep walking. No
just,
more, no more
just like a
information on
casual
it.
passing in a
Yeah,
park.
yeah, because you can't. We don't have any information. None of us have any more information than that. We can't help them any further than that. Just like give them that information, a little nod of the cap, and keep walking.
Then you're just done.
Yes. When the oak leaves are the size of squirrels' ears, that's when they're running. Yep.
Later. Shit. All right, man. Well, obviously we have to do one of these again. There is also go to patreon.com/reelaftv, REELAFTV. There is a tier where me and Tim each month will do a Patreon exclusive YouTube show. And the Patreons get to write in with questions and answers, or with questions that they want us to answer.
You guys give us,
or you can write in with questions and answers, and then we'll just read that shit.
If you got questions and answers like the squirrel ears, oak leaf, I'm totally cool with that. I will read the question and the answers when they're that good. Yeah, we're doing it.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, this month we are going to keep it geeky in the second half, and we are going to talk video games every time. So we are going to cut off here with our fishing Q&A episode, and we are going to go in the second half. We're going to talk about our experiences and where Resident Evil is going now, because we're going to have opinions. We've been playing this shit since it came out on PS1. So
oh my goodness,
we've been around the block
since the first one, dude. It's a dope game.
It's a dope game. All right, hit it.
I'm having more fun watching
with the camera, right?
Watching myself.
Hey, I know I've been saying it the whole time during the podcast, but I want to say it again. Patreon.com/reelaftv, REELAFTV. We're on Patreon. It is a monthly subscription, basically. It's a membership program that you can go to, and you can help support Real AF TV as little as $1 a month, even if that's all you got. We do encourage you to go up to at least $3 because, the tax man always wants their money. So $1, it actually turns into a few cents by the time it gets to us. But that is not the point. We don't care. We're going to give you exclusive Patreon updates, even at $1. The podcast is going to remain free. And Tim, we have ambition to do more, but we just need
so much more.
We just need the help of the listeners to share Real AF TV, even just subscribe and all that fun stuff. But Patreon is really where we're making our drive, so that way we can get the financial help that we need so we can start editing video and doing more video, because that just takes time and money.
Yep. And video is, I want to do so much video. I have so many ideas, and you guys can help make that possible. So
yes, we started the podcast so we could start making content. Obviously, the name Real AF TV indicates that we founded this with the idea of doing video. It's just been all leading up to this point. So please share Real AF TV with your friends, with your family, with everybody, and let them know about the Patreon. It is just a monthly subscription. You're in control. You want to give us $100 a month and then dip down to $1 a month, or just get out of here. It doesn't matter, because you're in control. We're going to do all we can to keep you around, keep you entertained, but we appreciate you just sharing it.
So much. Appreciate it.
And we're back to the Real AF TV podcast, a show about fishing random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. Tim, I need to go turn on my backlight because now the video is not consistent.
Uh-oh. Oh, it just turned on.
Oh, look at that. My wife got it. Boom. We're back and we're
magic.
Rolling. We're
Thanks,
keeping
Sarah.
that in. I'm wearing headphones, you can't hear, but
yeah, she'll.
We're gonna keep that in.
Maybe she'll watch it later. Do our wives ever watch this stuff?
No, they don't hear shit we ever say.
That's
why we're gonna try to make that money on Patreon and then never let them know how much we're actually making.
That's a perfect segue into. I saw a super weird butt at Walmart today.
Here we are in the second half trying to talk about Resident Evil, but we're going to talk about a weird butt for sure.
I got to tell you just real quick because it was so awkward.
Yes, I want to hear this story. I'm in suspense now.
This lady she was bow-legged, so her knees came together, and she had absolutely no thigh definition, but she had a big butt. So it was like wide, and then it went from her hips and then just like came in under the butt cheeks real tight to these tiny little legs that went in even closer together at the knees. It was the weirdest looking thing ever for you to be wearing like the tight yoga pants. Just saying, like, you should maybe just wear some more relaxed fit stuff, because that looked super weird.
I knew that's exactly where this was going, is that everybody just thinks that they can wear tights and yoga pants now.
Yeah,
and
I mean, know your body. I get like people are just like, I can wear what I want. You can, but it looks silly. I know my body type. I'm not wearing fucking yoga pants. Everybody, if I wore yoga pants to a store, for sure people would be like, what are you doing? And I would look down and just be like, oh man, I know, I fucked up.
You're
but
right.
People get so offended these days. They're just saying, like,
I know.
I'm just telling you, you can wear them if you want, but I'm gonna be behind you being like, that looks fucking weird. Just saying.
Just saying.
I can't stop myself from thinking it, and I know I'm not the only one. So
right. Yeah. It's just, if you don't fit in a medium t-shirt, don't fucking wear a medium.
Yeah, don't wear a medium.
Same thing.
You're not medium.
Yeah. Just don't do it. It's just don't. Anyways, let's talk about Resident Evil, since Resident Evil 8 just dropped the week before the podcast is dropping. I have good Resident Evil stories. I have many Resident Evil stories, but I wanted to ask, did you play Resident Evil 7? I don't know that we ever talked about it. That's the PS4 version. The first it's the first one in first person, I guess.
I don't know if I played that one.
I
Which one
would
was
let me
which
just
one
say
was
this.
7? What was
You
it
would
called?
know if you
Yes,
played it, dude.
I played
It's
7. That was
You
the
did.
one. That was the one. Was it like Biohazard or some shit?
Yeah.
Yes,
Resident
yes, I
Evil
played
7
that one.
Biohazard. It was the first time that the Japanese name, because remember the original Resident Evil came over, or like back in the day when we first started playing Resident Evil on the PS1, it was called Biohazard in Japan. And then it came over here and it was called Resident Evil.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah. So
That's
that's
cool.
the story. So when 7 came out and it was like the first it was the first one that just launched at the same time, as far as I know. I could be wrong, like 6 and 5 and 4 could have launched at the same time, but that
Right.
was the catch. Is Resident Evil 7 is called Resident Evil Biohazard, but it's called Biohazard in Japan. So
Right.
yeah, there's like a whole thing there.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's super cool. But
Yeah.
yes, I for sure played that one. That storyline is so dope. That game is so fucking scary. That
I figured this was a good topic. You have talked about in the earlier podcast, not so much lately, but you really talk about how much you like horror movies and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I thought, dude, we gotta talk about Resident Evil. You have to love this shit.
they have
I
that
know you
one.
do.
Yes,
We're good friends. I know you fucking love this shit.
yeah. I want to play that one so badly on the VR headset
Oh, see, fuck
because
that.
dude, there's one. So like, if you guys haven't played it, there's a part in the beginning where you're going through this house and there's like this guy and you're trying to not alert him, and when he hears you, he fucking comes at you. And that, to have it in VR would just be like, oh shit, he's
Mm-mm.
coming. He busts
Mm-mm.
through walls and shit, man. Like, it
Fuck
scares the shit out
that.
of you. And just the whole thing, like, there's so many what the fuck moments in it. Just,
Is there
I,
really?
have you played it?
So I played the demo. I only played the demo. I downloaded the demo because they had a free open demo for anybody who wanted it, because it was such a big change in the franchise, right? Because it
Yeah.
went first person. It was just a huge change,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
I
got the
know the demo.
chills. Yeah, I got the chills from walking around in like an attic, because one time I I was walking in, and then I turned around and a mannequin had moved like right in front of me. So when I turned around, the mannequin was right there, and I got the
Yeah,
fucking chills down the back of my
yeah,
neck and down
yeah,
all the way down my arms into my hands. And I was like, oh, fuck.
yeah. And Resident Evil is so good at setting up those scares where when you go into some place, something moves, and there's no
Mm-hmm.
possibility of catching the guy. But when you go into the one room and then you have to like, you do your exploring in that room and you come back out of that room, he walks
Mm-hmm.
past the doorway, not in the doorway. You have no idea that there's anybody in the house up until that point, and then he just goes up past the doorway, and you're just like, I remember the first time I played it, he walked past
Yeah.
the doorway, and I, just like you would in real life, my character just stops, like, oh, oh, shit.
Not because that was programmed into the game, but because you just let your fingers off the sticks.
Yeah,
You were
because I
just
just
like,
went, oh, it's, what the fuck was that? Because you haven't seen anything. You're just looking, you thought, you're like, there's probably something here. Game
right.
is set up to scare me, but like, this is a abandoned house. And then you're just like, oh, is it abandoned? Was that a ghost? Was that a real, what did I just see?
What the fuck?
But yeah, so that same guy, that's the guy later on that you end up in the house with, and he's chasing you around and stuff. And the kind of ending of that segment,
Mm-hmm.
you go into the garage, and like basically it ends by this guy going, I'm about to show you something wonderful, and fucking takes the gun that you have in your hand under his chin and blows his own head off.
What the fuck? What? Oh my god! Spoiler alert for Resident Evil 7.
Spoiler alert. Sorry if you haven't played it yet. You should have.
Holy
I'm about to
fuck,
show you
dude!
something wonderful.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then another spoiler alert if you haven't played it, he comes back.
Yeah, Jesus. Of course he fucking comes
They
back.
all come
Oh my
back.
God. They all come back. That's the
They,
whole thing around Resident
they all
Evil.
come back. And the song too. Oh man, I've never heard that song before, but it's some like
Mm,
old-timey like British. I'm assuming it's British because of the name, but
okay.
it's just like this little kid voice that's just like, "Go tell Etta Rowley,"
Oh
and then
yeah.
it's like it sings it for a little while, and then they literally say that everyone is dead. You're like,
Oh my
what the
God.
fuck?
What the fuck,
Just
dude?
this little kid singing that creepy ass song. But
Ah,
yeah,
little kids, they're the
that
creepiest.
that is a good game. The storyline is creepy. All the bosses that you have to fight, the puzzles are hard in that one.
Oh, really?
I had to get help in there's like a secondary, you're almost on this like to start out you're on this person or like this family's like land, and there's
Okay. Yep.
multiple houses. There's like
Yep.
the main house, there's a side house. The one side house is like all booby trapped and stuff, and like I don't think I would have figured it out without looking it up.
No shit.
I was struggling, man.
Damn.
Hard shit. Yeah.
Damn. That
Yeah.
is one thing I've always liked about the franchise is that it's like it's freaky. It's like the whole thing is sort of a puzzle game, but like you've never been you've never been just killing zombies. You've never just been surviving zombies. Like that's not what that game is. It's not just
No.
surviving creepy shit.
Right.
That's not the
No.
hook.
Yeah. No.
It's good.
You got to get the puzzles. Yeah, and it's like
Right.
a lot of them will be like a puzzle. Like there's precursors to everything, where
What does that mean?
like, well, you'll walk up to something and you'll look at a statue, like you can do everything, and
Yeah.
it'll be like, oh,
Mhm.
this is a statue. It looks like there's a piece missing, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, I gotta find.
Right.
I'm gonna run
Yep.
across the piece, and then when you find the piece, you're like, oh shit, I gotta go
Yep.
back to where that statue was. This is what I just found.
Yeah.
And then when you
Yeah.
get that, you're like, oh man, like, like I've played so many of these games that you almost get like that pit in your stomach. You're just like, fuck, I found the piece, but now they want me to go back in that same room, and I know
Right.
the guys are gonna be like different than they were
Something's gonna
before.
be there.
Yeah, like, and that was in the second one where the jump scare where you walk down the hallway and there's nothing there the first time, and when you
Mm-hmm.
come back through, the fucking dogs bust through the window and you're like, oh
Bust through the
shit.
fuck. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I hated that, dude. Playing that on PS1, oh my God. Okay, I was playing it with my friend from across the street, and we had that happen to us, and we paused it and we just stopped. We turned on all the lights in like the entire basement. And it wasn't like we weren't playing in the dark to try to be scared, because we knew we were fucking scared of this game.
Yeah.
But when that happened, we got so freaked out. But we had to get to the next save point, because remember on PS1,
Right.
there was no autosave.
Yeah. Just like
There
shit.
was no auto.
I can't. If I stop now, I'm just gonna have to do this shit again.
Exactly. And we got so goddamn scared. We froze. We froze in that same chill that I talked about when I turned around about in the Resident Evil 7 demo, where it like went down the back of my neck and my arms and shit.
Hmm.
That happened then, and he was playing. He paused it, drops the controller, is my memory, and we just stood there.
Just breathing heavy. Fuck.
Yes, I literally went and got my dad. Like, we're just like, we can't do it. We can't. Like, the room is right there. It's right around the corner, but we can't move. Like, we feel paralyzed in this spot. We couldn't move. I had to go. We turned on all the lights. I had to go get my dad. We couldn't do it, dude. And we're like, we're not quite teenagers, but we're.
Yeah,
It was
dude.
just like, no, I can't do this. And
Yeah.
this is PS1. Look at the graphics on PS1
Right. No, I know. The graphics,
compared to today, compared to
dude,
7.
I remember like we just had such good imaginations back then because like we never it's as good as it was. Like
Right.
we
Yeah,
never had anything
for
better. So
sure.
you just had to imagine it looking
Yep.
normal. Like I remember there being
Well, and still, it was CDs, so the sound was really, really,
yeah.
really good. So that was a huge part of it.
But I remember like people even just talking about like Laura Croft and just being like, "Oh, she's so hot," and you're like, "She's a fucking bunch of boxes." She-
Yeah, for real, dude. For real. That's a really good point. Is like, yeah, Laura Croft was like, oh my God, she's so
Can you
hot.
believe
And
it?
you're like, what?
Yeah. There was a Game Shark for you kids at home. Game Shark was a thing that you could buy and actually plug it into the system that would be able to like plug in codes and like cheat codes that were beyond like what you could just do like up A B whatever, on
Right.
the
And it'd give you like
PlayStation
30
is,
lives or something like that.
square, triangle, yeah, but
Yeah. This was like a
exactly.
hack. This was like a hack machine.
Oh, it was a legitimate hack machine, and I remember having that for the original PlayStation. And Tomb Raider 2, I could play a version where Laura didn't have any clothes on, and I remember just being like, "Oh, she's naked." I saw photos of that not too long ago. It's
Mhm.
like a tan box with a brown box on it for a boob. And you're just like, I remember being a kid just being like, "Oh, I could see your boobs." And you're just like, it's a box with another box on it. That's not a boob.
You're like, that's not a boob.
It's not a boob.
That's
Just
so good.
so silly back like what you look at now to just be like, I
Right.
cannot believe we actually thought like like you would brag about it. Dude, totally
Yeah.
saw Laura Croft's titties.
You go to school the next day.
And then
I seen
everybody
them.
yeah, and it wasn't even like you're being stupid. Everybody else is just like, "Shut up, dude. Can we come over?" Like, "Yeah, dude, you can come over. I'll show you."
You hide your Game Shark book quick. You're like, shit,
Right.
look, I just got this version.
Right.
So I want to get back to 2 now because 2 was definitely my big intro into it. Like that was when I got hooked. It was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
2 discs. And you can fucking play one as Jill and you can play one as Chris. And it was like, holy shit, it was cool because it was 2 games in the same place and they overlapped really. They did such a goddamn good job on that game. And I'm actually playing the remake on PS4 right now, which it's
There
so good and it's really fun to play as someone who really got invested in it back in the day on the PS1. I still
yeah.
kind of remember it. It's fucking weird. Like I can still
Yeah.
sort of, like you were saying, walk up to the statue and it'll say, "This is a jade statue. It needs a jade diamond." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I remember that."
Right. Yep. I remember that stuff too. Like I remember weird specific stuff. Like sometimes where you're like
What does that mean?
not everything, but I'll be like coming down this like one thing and I'm just like, "Oh shit, there should be a green herb around this corner." And then like there
Oh,
is like
right,
weird stuff
right.
like that. Like I knew there was
Yeah.
going to be that herb there.
Yeah.
It just
Are you
weird.
playing Resident Evil 2 remake? We've never talked
No,
about that before.
no, I did
Okay.
play a little bit of it. Like there was a demo that came out that I played some of it, but I
Mhm.
never actually got it. So I know what you're
Yep.
talking about. Where like the nostalgia just from the demo was like, oh shit, I know.
Yeah.
Like all this is coming back to me right now.
Isn't that weird? Like
Yeah,
it
and it's
feels so weird
so
now as an
much
adult
better.
to have that happen.
The cutscenes are dope. Plus, they put it in like the problem with the old ones. If you guys haven't played them, was the camera was like fixed up in the corner of the room,
Yep.
and then when you went to the next room the camera could sometimes change and your orientation would completely change based off of where the camera was. So
Yep.
now up is down, down is up, and sometimes you're running from one room to the next trying to get away from something, and
Mhm.
up just became down and you run right back into where you were trying to get
Right
away
back.
from. You're like, no, 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 no.
You're like, "Fuck. Damn it."
Yes. And now they've completely changed the whole gameplay to where you don't have any of that because
Yep.
the machines can handle it now. I mean, like you
Right.
said,
Yeah, yeah.
2
Because
discs.
that was
There's
part of Resident Evil, right? Like back in the day when we started playing it, part of that whole thing was those pre-rendered backgrounds allowed them to put all the polygons into the characters, and so they had that's what it was. It was pre-rendered backgrounds, and that's why the camera had to stay fixed. Is because it wasn't 3D. It was just a JPEG with
yeah,
3D information in it. And so
right.
the backgrounds looked really good. The characters looked better than a normal full 3D game. It really turned it up a notch.
Yep. Yep. Plus the
And then
size of like I don't remember playing a game where there was like that much space to roam. It wasn't free
right,
roam, but like you
nope,
would go through this room and then you go upstairs and then there'd be like all these rooms to like search and you're like this place is fucking huge and it's not even the only building you're in. You
right,
know, it was
yeah,
like it was so different from what we were used to.
right, yeah, big time. Because you could there was a map, yeah, to get around the mansion, but like you felt like you were in a mansion. It just got you in
Right.
so
Well,
well. They did such a good
yeah,
job.
it feels so much bigger too when there's like bad stuff trying to like hurt you. Where
Right.
every time
Yeah.
you open a door and you're like, this room's pretty big, a lot of space for a lot of things to go wrong, man. You know, like it
Yeah.
makes you so much more nervous.
Sure, sure. I so the original, well, this gets really kind of into the weeds, I guess. So Resident Evil 1 was a PS1 game, and then they remade it on the GameCube and just continued to keep it Resident Evil, and it was in full 3D, but it still had the locked cameras. And if I don't know for sure, but I think it also had what you were just talking about, the weird lock where up is down and down is up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then they ported it to current consoles and it came out on PS Plus. So I had also been playing the Resident Evil remake on PS4 of the GameCube remake of the PS1 game.
Okay.
That's that kind of inception that just happened.
Right.
But it has locked
Inside a
cameras.
dream, inside a dream, inside a dream.
Yes, exactly. I was playing that, and that has new controls in it. So the locked camera angle doesn't screw with you like the old
Hmm.
version. Now I kind of want to go back and actually play the old version and just be like, is it as bad as we remember? I think the answer is
Yeah.
yes. It
Well,
is as bad as we remember.
do you remember too that like because of how everything was, there was like a slight delay of loading time too when you
Oh,
went
there
into
would be that
certain
like
yeah, where you go from one to the next and it'd be like "Boop," and then you're in and then you'd so some of the times where you'd be like going from one room and then you hit the wrong button and go back in, you're all of a
mhm.
sudden just like uh, and you're just like, "No, god damn it. He's gonna fucking
Damn
get me."
it.
And that was, like, even more of the suspense too, which, like, it sucked, but it made it more suspenseful because you're, like
Yes.
these short little clips of, like, you're in this room, and then you're back, and you see the zombie behind you, and then you're going the right way again, and then you're
Yep.
back, and he's a little bit closer to you, and every time you're just like, "No, no, fucking shit. He's" you're just like, "I don't have enough health." You know, it
Right.
wasn't like the newer ones where, like, he catches me, I'm dead. It
Right.
was just like, if he hits me, I am going to be struggling here.
Right.
Like
Yep.
this is not good, you know. And sometimes, like you even know, like that was back in the day too, where not everything was auto saved. So
You're right. Yeah.
you'd play a little bit further, and you can't get past a part because you're getting just lit up, and you're like, "Damn it! I need to make sure that my health is full." And you fuck up a couple of times on that stuff, and he catches you, and you just shut the machine off. You're like, "I'll start over from the last save point. I can't take that damage. I need to make it through that room the right way."
That was back in the day when the reset button was still there. You just
Right. Bloop.
and quick
Just
reboot.
yeah, just get mad. Just hit the reset button, throw the fucking controller. Shit. I had a Nerf controller for that purpose. They made controllers out of they Nerf actually made a PlayStation controller for a little while. And then
Oh
somebody
my
could go
god, that's
wrong and you could just
awesome.
fucking shit.
It was made out of foam.
Yeah, it was made out of foam. It didn't matter what it hit. You weren't gonna break it.
That's so good. So uh, a lot of Resident Evil is resource management, and the reason why I bring that up is because you said like I don't have enough health for that, and also
Yeah.
you don't want to use your health because it's like the whole damn time you're just like all I got to do is save all these health packs because I know that final boss
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fucking need them. I'm gonna
Yep.
totally need them. And is
Yep.
Resident Evil 7 still have that resource management? Because I've also heard about like there's a puzzle game sort of about managing your inventory. I don't know. I never played it
Oh,
that far.
there is like not in 7 so much, but there like it got to a point where you had cases and you could hold
Oh,
stuff in your case and you could upgrade your case, but there was like spaces and they would take up like this piece takes up like 3 spaces or whatever.
okay.
So you
Yep.
would put it was like playing kind of Tetris or whatever. You had to not
Oh,
Tetris, but you had to lay everything in there the right way. And
okay.
you could waste space if you didn't lay everything in there right. You could turn the
Oh,
pieces.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like this is a 2 piece, this is a 3 piece,
Yep.
you know.
Okay. Is
So
that
it,
how they keep? Because like the idea of Resident Evil is the resource. Like things are scarce. It's a zombie apocalypse
yeah,
or
uh-huh.
whatever. Like it's a hard to navigate place. So is that how they make you in Resident Evil 7? Because I'm hearing similar things about Resident Evil 8.
7 no 7 is different. I honestly can't remember. I don't think it was
Sure.
quite the same. I think 7. Uh-oh.
Did your battery just die?
I think so.
That's okay. Just let the battery. Oh well, your camera dropped off. We're
Oh,
figuring it out. We're learning our
shit.
equipment.
Yeah. Should I just leave it then?
Yeah,
Or
that's true.
okay.
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right.
We'll just let it go. That's going to be
Sorry
how
guys.
Tim lost his camera.
Yep.
That's how it'll
I
be.
I'm going to get a cord, but right now I only have batteries, so sorry.
Audio
Um
listeners, you didn't miss out on anything.
you didn't miss out on anything. You're just confused that while we're talking about it, we're just like, "Uh-oh." They're like, "What? What's uh-oh?"
Right.
But no, so I can't really remember how it worked, but I do think that it was in 7 where you had to go through in the I think the cases started in 4.
Oh,
But when
okay.
you went to grab stuff out of your case and move stuff around,
Hmm.
it would actually pause the game pretty much. And you could kind of see the background while you were getting stuff ready.
Oh,
7,
okay.
if I remember correctly, you could not. So shit's
Oh,
coming at you and you got to grab stuff out of your case on the fly.
oh,
And you're just like, damn it,
God.
damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. I need this, I
Sounds
need
so
this.
stressful.
Yeah, you're literally trying to like find a good spot to stop and grab. Like it makes it more realistic and it's scary, but there's
Sure.
also a decent amount in that game of the shit that I don't like, where it's the stuff that you can't kill.
What do you
Like
mean?
you can like hurt it to the point where it stops for a minute, but it will eventually get back up and keep coming for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Ugh,
don't like
I
that
don't like that.
stuff. It's too stressful.
Yeah.
I don't like my video games to be stressful like that. Like I get why they do it, and it is scary, so it makes sense to me. But at the same time, it's like I just don't care for that stuff. Dead Space did it too.
Ah.
They all do it.
I I, I think that the I think Resident Evil 2 did that for me in the sense of like I couldn't kill shit just because I didn't have the resources, and that's the part that I'm okay with. But like
Yeah.
the ability to just not kill it anyway, see, I don't like that. I just like it always comes back. That pisses me off, and it to me is a compensation for resource management because too many people bitch about resource management. That's what I think happened, but I could be wrong there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like I don't necessarily like that part of it cuz like if I'm trying to save my ammo or whatever, or my
Yeah.
resources, I
Yep.
will try to blow past stuff sometimes, but every once in a
Sure.
while it's like I feel like there's something to this room. I want to explore it,
Right.
but I'm not gonna do it with that fucker over there. Keep
Right in
getting
the
back
corner.
up,
I'm
man.
gonna fucking kill it.
I gotta murder that guy.
Right.
And I think you can kill it so it doesn't come back, but it's so
Okay.
much to do so. Like it's
Mm.
like you really have to like give it everything. And there's more than one. So you're like, you went all out to kill him, and
Oh.
now you have another one that showed up.
And
So
then
you're
his
like,
fucking
fuck.
partner shows up and you're like,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. It's just like, damn it.
Ah,
But
that
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I
But I
think
mean, is it, I'm assuming Resident Evil 7 it didn't make your favorite list out of all of them. How many have you played, I guess, first?
most of them. 6 was lame.
6 was lame. That's what I always hear.
Yeah.
I always hear 6. I tried to play. I bought 5, and then I never opened the motherfucker. But I
5
heard
was
that
dope.
was like it was. It was it played on 4's action, right? Like 4 kind of brought it
Yeah.
into the action
Yeah.
realm, and 5
Yeah.
continued that.
4 was my favorite one of all time.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Third
Yep.
person, so good. And then when you finish
And
it,
Leon again. Just want to say,
yeah, yeah.
sweet.
And then when you finish the game, you unlock mercenaries, and it becomes like a whole another game
Oh shit.
where you get to play as all the characters. There's like you, and like you have Leon, and you have Ada
Oh.
Wong, and then you also have there's the like bad guys, like the bad guys throughout the movie. You can be, or throughout the game that
Mhm.
like you can play them, and it's
Oh, shit.
literally like you have like a timed, it's almost like an arcade version of it where like
Oh
they're gonna
yeah.
keep sending hordes at you, and you just have
Yeah.
to kill as many as you can.
Yeah.
And there's things that you can get to unlock more time,
Mhm.
and there's combos that you can do and all this stuff, and you're just trying to get the most points by
Yeah.
just killing like nonstop.
Yeah.
It's a
Dude,
completely new video game, and I loved it so much.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That was in 4
that
that
was in
first came out?
4. Yep,
Yeah.
that was in 4. And 4 was basically the same thing as 5. You just get new
Okay.
characters that you're playing through,
Yep.
and 4 was like you start in like a Spanish speaking European country, and 5 was like in Africa.
Okay, yeah, I just remember it being really, like, desert
Yes.
like, and I
Yep.
never got around. Yeah, I actually have 4 for PS2, which is what it released on. I have it. I got it for Christmas, and I never finished it, which is so weird because I finished, like, over 50 PS2 games, and I never got around to Resident Evil 4, which was like, it's so made for me. Given how my experience with Resident Evil 2 went, it was just, like, made for me, and I'm just like, that's such a big open void in my gaming. I have it out still. Like, it still sits around like, "You gotta play that game. You need to play that game."
You do need to play that game. It's my
I
favorite one of all time.
yeah,
And
which
5 5 is good too. It's just like I just like 4 better. I think the characters are better. They're creepier.
mm,
They have their like chanting and stuff, and
mhm,
just like there's different, just the storyline setting it up too. Like I think 4 I saw less of it coming. Like
mm,
where I think the storyline's better in 4,
yeah,
where you start out like I guess you see it coming, but
okay,
you just don't know what to expect. And 5 is like,
right.
this is the same thing as 4, so I know what's about to
So
happen.
you're like, "Ah, I kinda see that coming."
Right.
I gotcha, I gotcha. With 8 now being out, fresh, brand new, um, neither one of us have been able to get our hands on a PS5 yet, so that isn't the appeal for this one, but it is on PS5. Um, would you get it for PS4 though? Like, are you excited for it? Did you even know Resident Evil Village was a thing?
I did. I have looked into it somewhat.
Yeah.
Um I I've never been the kind of guy that wants to know a lot about the games before they come out, especially
Yeah,
when I
I
just
hear you.
love the genre. I just want
Mhm.
to buy the game and experience everything for myself
Right.
instead of hearing, like, I looked into it on YouTube a little bit, and
Yep.
there's like people putting out videos that are like 8 things you should know about Resident Evil Village before you buy, and I'm like, I don't
Before
want
you
to
buy
know anything about it
it.
before I buy it. I just want to buy it and play it.
Right. And just
So,
all fresh. I gotcha.
yeah, so I'm excited about it, but honestly, with the podcasts and everything we're trying to do, and the
Yep.
amount of work I have, and then
Yep.
the free time I do have at home, my son's 3.
Yep.
I can't play Resident Evil in front of him. Like, I
Right.
just don't think I can get away with it right now.
Yep.
So,
Yep, he's too much of a sponge. He really can get it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I no, I hear you. I'm still trying to beat The Last of Us Part 2, which came out before my daughter was even born. So there we are.
There you go.
But again, go to patreon.com/reelaftv, REELAFTV. Help us out so we can do more of this, which, hey, means playing
Yeah.
video games sometimes too, I guess,
And if you
because then
want to
we can talk
watch
about it.
us, yeah, and if you want to watch us play video games, if that's something somebody like everybody's interested in too,
Yeah.
definitely let us know. We can make that happen.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. We can. We have the technology. Do we have the time? That's the question. I want to know, have you heard, because you got Netflix now, so that's new-ish in your life. We talked
Yep.
about that in the physical media podcast, I believe,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken. So that was just a few episodes ago, in episode 18, where we talked about physical media, and I believe that's when you dropped the bombshell. You have Netflix now. Did you know Netflix picked up a Resident Evil animated series?
No, I did
Yeah,
not.
dude, it drops in July already.
Dude,
Yeah.
I want to check that out. There's a Dead Space animated series that's fucking hardcore.
What?
Yeah, it's hardcore.
Where the fuck do you find that?
I don't know. I've seen it. I don't know where to find it though. I can't
And it's
remember.
like official. It's not like some fanfic fuck film.
No, it's no, yeah, no. It was out there for like it's been out there for a while. Like when Dead Space came out, like I think it was the first one.
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty hard. It's just like the game.
Oh,
It's
okay.
hardcore, man.
That's fucking cool. I had no idea. And of course, Resident Evil 2. Of course, it would be Resident Evil 2. That's pretty much what it looks like that this Netflix special? No, that's not the right way to put it, because it seems like it's going to be like a mini series or something like that. But the point that I'm trying to make is, like, of course, because they're catering to our generation, our group of our age group, because we're the ones paying for Netflix primarily now. And what do we remember? Just like I have been doing this whole time, Resident Evil 2. So that's what it seems like it's going to be, is kind of the Claire and Leon show. But it looks dope, dude. I'm totally going to put it on the list and do my best to watch it. Didn't you have a Blu-ray that was an animated, like, from, I don't know, 10 years? It can't be 10 years ago.
There was a Resident Evil 3D animated movie.
There was. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so I'm not recalling that. Yeah. So it seems like it's going to sort of be in the vein of that, if I remember that correctly. But did you have that?
Yeah, I think I still have it someplace.
What was it?
I don't even remember, man. It
Me
was
neither.
like I remember it being okay. So
Yeah.
I don't remember it being like much. So I really can't remember what it was about at all. But it was just like a Resident Evil movie that kind of looked more like the game. But
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That I really can't tell you any more than that. I just remember that it exists.
Yeah.
So
No,
nothing to write home about.
Right, because didn't set in very well. But yeah, Netflix has picked up a animated series, and it drops in July. So I'm pretty pumped for that. I'm definitely gonna be checking that out. That's for damn sure. And on that note, did you get into the shit? I wanted to call her Mila Kunis. Why the fuck? That's not her name. Did you get into the real life movies?
Yeah, the Mila Djokovic. Is it Djokovic or Jovovich?
Yeah. Okay. So her first name
is Mila. Yeah.
Okay. So I was right on that part.
I remember there was a stupid ass. They had those Spike Award TVs, and they gave out like the dumbest awards, and one of them was hottest Mila, and it was just those two up against each other.
What?
Yeah. So
would
dumb.
Never fly in 2021.
No,
never.
And Mila Kunis wins, and she walks up there and accepts the award, and she's like, "Thanks, I guess. Like I'm hotter than one other girl that's with the same name." It's just so dumb.
That's the weirdest fucking thing. Like,
It's
she
so
threw that in
dumb.
the garbage. She didn't even take that home. She just was like, "This is fucking weird."
Yeah, or she has it in her closet and opens it up and looks at it every once in a while when she's having a bad day. She's like, "I am hotter than that one, though." And just I would think not probably because she's got to know that she's hot. They're both hot.
Right. So
That's why
that's why
they're
it's just like,
movie stars. I mean, I'm
right,
not saying that's the only reason why they're movie stars, but
right,
that's why they're like big time leading ladies in
right,
these like
exactly.
movies where they need a hot chick,
Right.
you know?
It's just how it works. It's not that they're not
Yeah.
good at acting. It's just like
Yeah.
that's just how it works.
Yeah. No, I have watched everyone. I have
Yeah,
watched
you
all of
did.
them.
Damn,
Yeah.
kick
So
ass.
they're not as good as the games, but they're still good movies.
Yeah, I remember when the first one came out, and I was into it. I thought they did a really good job. It was fun to watch. Like it was fun to watch and make the connections of the game and then things like that. I actually had the second one, Apocalypse. Yes, Apocalypse on UMD for the PSP.
Oh, nice.
But funny enough, that was the last one that I watched. Like
Yeah.
I just watched the first two so much like the video game. I pretty much played the first two and then
Yeah.
kind of fell off.
They're still good and they bring in like characters that you know.
Oh,
Um
cool.
but yeah, it's like well, you didn't play 4,
No,
so
but
I
go
don't
ahead
know.
and talk about 4 all you
Well,
want
there's
because I've listened to enough video game stuff where I have a it's not spoiled for me by any means. I definitely still would love to play it someday, but you know, I think
yeah.
whatever you're gonna say, I'll get
I
it.
guess I'm now maybe I'm thinking remembering it wrong. Do you know Wes?
Oh
Is
yeah,
it Wes?
Chris is in the first one.
Yeah. Is he the like main bad guy, right? With the sunglasses? Or
Yeah.
am I thinking of
Nope.
yeah.
You're on.
So yeah, okay, so yeah. I think I'm remembering that wrong where Wes was the in the first one and then he's a playable character once you get to Mercenaries. He's not I don't think he's actually in
Okay. Okay.
or maybe he is. I need to play through 4 again. I don't think he's actually in the game. I think you just get to play as
Ooh.
him.
Maybe that's a Patreon goal where me and Tim play 4 together again.
Oh, that would
Or
be
like
so
I play
dope.
for the first time and
Yeah.
then Tim plays it again. We talk
I
about
think
whether
5 we can play co-op.
I actually thought that because on the cover there's 2 people. I know
Yeah.
that for a fact.
Yep. Yeah. So that's cool.
That is
But
cool. Anyways.
yeah, like I remember in the one of the movies like Wes is in it. um you know, it kind of follows that same narrative like where they get to the getting towards the end of the movie and you
Mm.
finally like encounter him, you know,
Ah,
where she's trying to find him
okay.
knowing that he's the bad guy.
Oh,
And yeah, I don't remember. I know that none of them were like super great. I think the one after was it Apocalypse? One of them got real
yeah.
weird where there
Apocalypse
was
was
like
2. So my memory is like Apocalypse was the second one and it was decent and it sort of just kind of kept in the theme, you know, they kept with it is what I'm
yeah.
saying. It seems like they did a good job just keeping with it and being its own thing but sort of, you know, but still being part of the our universe. And then I swear the poster of the third movie was like the cover of the fifth game, but the as in like it seemed kind of deserty and Africy, like it just seemed kind of deserty
Oh
and
yeah,
dusty,
yeah,
and that
there's
it gave me more Mad Max vibes than it did fucking Resident
yeah,
Evil, to be
right.
honest.
Yeah, it kind of was that where there was like I mean some of it felt a little bit forced where I remember that
Oh,
it was
really?
in that one where like all of a sudden there's like a trailer and I can't remember why there's a trailer, but they open the trailer doors and it's like just plump full of zombies. They all come
Oh,
running out and then it's time to like fight
oh,
those zombies or whatever.
what?
It's like I can't remember why
Like
any of that
somebody
stuff
transported
happened.
them as a weapon or something?
Well, no, I think it was more like they were trying to like hold the doors shut, but then they couldn't. But you're just like, then you start thinking like, why the how the fuck did they get them all in there in the first fucking place?
That was exactly, yeah. If you're seeing the video version, you saw my face say that.
Yeah, right. It's just weird.
That's
Some of
fucking
that stuff.
weird, dude.
But there's one of them, I can't remember which one it was. There's one of them where like everything ends up being like a simulation. That one's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Where they're
Definitely
but
never saw that.
but it's also like confusing. Where it seems like they're
Right.
running a simulation like in Japan where everything's happening and then you I think it's like the first I think it's the first one where they show that girl like walking through like the
Yep.
the intersection in Tokyo and it's like
Okay.
pouring rain and then like that shows how like the outbreak starts. But
Hmm.
maybe that's not, but I feel like that one was in an earlier movie and then you have it in this like maybe it's even the fourth one where they're showing that simulation again, but then it's like ends up being the simulation of a bunch of different stuff and there ends up being
Huh.
like almost like Nazis or some shit. I can't remember. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, that sounds weird as fuck.
Yeah, it
So
gets a
they
little
kind of
bit
got off the
crazy.
rails, it sounds like to
Yeah,
me.
they're like, yeah, they're at one point they're driving like a nice Bentley in this place, and yeah, I can't
Huh.
even remember. All I remember is like weird, like tidbits
Hmm.
that don't really seem to fit together at all. Like just like now,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't describe to you what the
Yeah.
movie was. I'm just like that part was
There's
weird and that part was weird, but
there's just these tiny little like clips and they're non-descriptive almost.
yeah, because like the storyline was weird enough that I can't really like it didn't stick. But I can tell you, like, yeah, at one point they were in a Bentley for some reason. And I think there were
Right.
Nazis, and
And you're just like, so that's about my memory of it.
yeah, and I know there was liquors for sure. There were a couple liquors
Yeah, of
involved in
course.
that. So,
Resident Evil freaking poster child, basically.
yep.
Before we wrap up here, I gotta ask because you started to sort of. I think you were alluding to it, but I have only heard it. I've never played it, so I think it was leading to it, or maybe 4 was the start of it. But isn't there like a minute game or something like that where you have a minute to beat the entire game, and you keep the clock going, ticking up from a minute by killing zombies and like doing certain tasks and stuff like that. Is that sort of what that horde mode on 4 was starting? Have you ever heard of this thing? Am I just like losing my shit?
No, I've heard of it. I think you're thinking of a different video game. It in the
Okay.
Mercenaries, there was where you start with like a little bit of time and you keep getting the time.
Okay.
And you're basically just trying to make it last for as long as you can, killing as many zombies as you can because it's all about
Mm.
points.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you get so many points, that's how you can like unlock other characters and shit too.
Oh,
So yeah, so you're trying to get the points and stuff. But I think you're thinking of oh, what was that? There's another movie. It was real dark and creepy, and it was about a police officer. But when he jumped, you could slow down time. You know
Mad
what I'm talking
Max.
about? No, not Mad Max, but I think it was Max something,
Max
wasn't it?
Payne. My bad.
Max Payne.
Max Payne. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So there's definitely a mode on Max Payne for that. I know
yeah.
that
Max
is.
Payne has the New
Yeah.
York Minute mode,
Yeah, the New York
but
Minute. Yeah, that's what it is.
yeah,
Nice. I thought that
yeah.
Resident Evil had implemented something like that, and that's why I brought it up.
Maybe they did, but not in the ones that
Oh,
I've
also,
played.
yeah, also like Resident Evil has been transferred. Resident Evil 4 has been transferred to HD, I think twice now.
Okay,
Like I think they went to PS3 and to PS4, and each time they were like it's enhanced or whatever.
right.
So I think maybe they implemented a minute mode that, but yeah, you're right. Holy shit, that's Max Payne. I've been thinking about playing Max Payne again on my phone because you can get it on Android now, and I have a Sony phone that you can hook a DualShock to. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. We've been talking about Resident Evil long enough.
That
What do
was
you say
another
we
game
wrap this
that
shit up, Tim?
yeah, we should wrap it up. But that was I was just gonna say that was another game that they made a movie out of.
Yeah, they did. That was the first
Yep.
time I fell asleep in the theaters.
Yeah, it was boring. It's a weird, slow game too, but like when you're playing it, it's different than watching it. Like I could totally see
Yeah.
That being one where if
Yep.
you play it on Twitch, everybody's just like, I'm not gonna watch this shit.
But when you're playing it, you're fucking super into it because
There's
you're
some
just like
there's some
aiming in
parts
slow
that are
motion.
super creepy. Yeah, they're like it's just some of them. Like some of the parts get real dark.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
but
really dark. That the first Max Payne gets.
yeah, there's one scene where like you're in a church or something and it's all satanic, and the whole time you're like working up to the boss of this place, and he's just screaming crazy creepy shit, and you can't see him, you just hear him over and over.
Yeah,
And he's just like, the
Back-
blood of the innocents will spill. And
Yeah.
you're like, what in the fuck is going
Yeah.
on? You
Mhm.
can't see anybody. You're just in a room all by yourself hearing these crazy, creepy things being screamed.
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a good game. Good
very
game.
good game. It's not even a horror game. It's just creepy.
It's just noir.
That
creepy.
part's pretty much creepy, or pretty much horror game, but the rest of it not so much.
Right. All right, Tim. Let's just call that it. Let's call that the good stuff. The podcast. Let's wrap it up.
Rap.
All right. Yeah. We definitely should close with the make sure to, like and follow and subscribe and all that shit on YouTube. Because we are going to be doing more things on YouTube, especially if you support us on patreon.com/realaftv, because that is live now on the internet. If you go right now, you could, grab a tier, get some benefits and become a member.
Grab a tear, shed a tear. Nah, we don't. Nah, it's just when you said tear, that made me think. Like I just heard you say it, and I'm like, grab a tear, and then I realized, like, and that's why I said that. I don't really have any reason. It didn't really make any sense. Sorry, I'm off the rails.
that's. I think that's how we end the podcast. We just end the podcast off the rails.
Off the rails every time.
Easier that way.